Please.
Thank you. So I'll talk on what's a neurologist perspective on this topic. Of course, there will be some repetition, but I'll try and skip as much as possible. Next slide, please. Why this topic? This topic has been there in the meetings of neurologists, not just neurologists, ENT specialists, ophthalmologists, physicians, infectious disorders. Why this topic has come and why suddenly there is so much increase of this fungi in COVID in India? Of course, we know that India was put on high alert because of these 3 points. Number one, India has the second highest number of COVID patients in the world, only next to USA. India is the second most common country where diabetes has been prevalent next to China, and we know that diabetes has been the risk factor for the mucor and especially the rhino-orbitocerebral find of mucor for many years. And of course, India has the highest burden of mucor in the world. There are 140 cases per million population in India, and the second most common country as far as prevalence is considered is Pakistan, where the number is just 25. So India has far high number of mucor cases in the world compared to other countries. Next slide. So because of these 3 points, there is no doubt. Just click once. We are seeing and expected to see a large number of cases of mucor in our country. Next slide. And then why neurologists in this topic? Because we know that the presenting symptoms of this disease is many times neurological. The headache, the facial pain, the double vision, the loss of vision, or maybe the facial palsy, or even the strokes. And neurologists have been managing mucor for decades. We have been managing this for very long period. Amphotericin, the drug which is commonly used for the treatment, has been used by neurologists for many years. We use it in many of our disorders, including cryptococcal meningitis. And we know how many neurologists know what are the side effects, how to manage the side effect of this drug. And of course, when there is a CNS invasion, it leads to increased mortality, which a neurologist can diagnose easily. Next slide. So this was a recent publication that we did about a month ago, and I am happy that the name of your talk is just the same as what we had written here: Epidemic of Mucormycosis in COVID Pandemic. This was a position paper that we published in our national journal in India. Next slide. And then we tried to analyze whether this is really the incidence has really increased or what is the status. This is a small study from our own hospital, where of course we had looked at cases till April of 2021. We have not looked in May and June when we had large number of patients. But even if you see for this 2 years, consecutive years between 18 to 20, besides 20 to 21, the incidence has increased more than 5 times about the admissions. So our hospital admission because of mucor have increased by more than 5 times. So the two incidence is definitely increasing. We do not have the exact figure of increased incidence, but it seems that the incidence has definitely increased, and it is probably more than 5 times. Next slide. And then we also did a similar study, which is under publication with the help of various neurologists across the state of Maharashtra. And these are the various places from where we had collected cases. Next slide. And just run briefly, because everyone has showed more or less similar kind of thing. The commonest age, of course, was between 50 to 60. Next. It was predominantly male predominance, more than 3/4 were males. Steroid use was there in COVID in about 90% patients. Remdesivir was used for more than 80%. Tocilizumab was used in 13%. And oxygen and ventilator was again 30 to 60% patient. So more or less similar to what has been shown by other speakers as well. Next slide. Diabetes was seen in about 80%. 13% patient developed diabetes after COVID, which is a well-known fact. Non-diabetics were only 6.6%. Hypertension and CKD were in some patients. And the other risk factors like malignancy and immunosuppressions were not seen in our patients. Next. And the onset was with COVID within 2 weeks of the so-called COVID period in about 60% patient, while in 41% patient, it started after COVID. And the mean duration usually was around 14 days and maximum was 2 months. We had one patient where the onset was 60 days after COVID. But most of the COVID mucor has started within, the symptoms of mucor has started within first 2 weeks of COVID onset. Next. And then presenting features, of course, this was a study done by neurologists, was predominantly neurological symptoms were there: headache, facial pain, diplopia, vision loss. There were focal neurological deficit, facial palsy, as well as seizures. So many neurological symptoms were there in our study. Next. The other symptoms which have been described by others were not very common in our study, but of course, this was a study done by neurologists. The patients were seen by neurologists predominantly here. Next slide. And as far as imaging was concerned, nose nasal rhinitis was seen in about 96%. Paranasal sinus involvement was 98%. Orbital involvement was seen in 72%. Cavernous sinus involvement 43%. Brain 30%. And strokes were seen in about 7.4. So about 50% patient had neurological involvement. Next slide. And the important about the next slide, like the madam described just now, nasal scraping was positive in two-thirds of the patient. In about 10% patients, 8.3% patient, when the nasal scraping was negative, histopath picked it up. So even if nasal scraping is negative, don't just think it is not fungal infection. One has to look at other things. And I think the calcofluor stain has really changed the game. It is a fluorescent stain which can really pick up the fungal elements immediately. So that has really changed compared to KOH. I think calcofluor has really changed the diagnostic skills of this disorder. Next. And in our study, it was not just mucor. Mucor was seen in 87%. About 4% had aspergillus, and about 7% had both mucor as well as aspergillus. So this is not an uncommon phenomenon to have a dual infection. And in about 10% of our patients, we had more than just mucor, aspergillus, as well as a comorbid double infection. Co-infection was seen in about 7% of patients. So one must have a good microbiology backup to see whether it is not just mucor, but maybe combination of the disorder. Next. And the drugs were used more or less same. This was a study done when isavuconazole was just started using. Of course, we're using it more often nowadays, but this was a study which was done till April end. Next. And outcome-wise, if you have a good team, you can see that 60% patient had improved, 34% was mortality compared to what has been described in the literature about 50 to 80%. Our mortality was just one-third of the patient. Only one patient is still under study and 4.1% patient left and went to some other hospital. So 60% of our patient had improved, which I believe is a decent figure. Next, talking about the pathophysiology, there are many hypotheses which have been given. This is a hypothesis that we had proposed, that the invasive mycosis occur as a part of four-pronged attacks. It is the past illnesses, the commonest of it being diabetes mellitus, but also other disorders can be part of it. But the commonest in patient who had COVID-related mucor was diabetes. Because of COVID, we know that there is immune dysregulation. So immune dysregulation can lead to invasive infection. There is hyperglycemia because of pancreatic involvement in COVID that leads to new onset of hyperglycemia or increased sugar, even in people who are having diabetes because of COVID itself, not just because of steroid, but because of disease. That can be a trigger for it. High ferritin we know is a risk factor because that leads to increased iron accumulation, and the iron and acidosis is a well-known risk factor for mucor. And of course, there may be unknown risk factors which may come up.
I slides आके कर रहा हूँ mucor के लिए.
And as far as COVID, just 1 minute, go back.
मैं आपको 10 मिनट में call back.
And about COVID treatment, we know that steroids are the risk factor. Tocilizumab also is a known risk factor. We don't know whether oxygen, invasive ventilation are risk factor. They have been proposed by many because we know that the predominant fungal infection are occurring either in lungs, that is pulmonary aspergillosis, or the rhino-orbidocerebral mucormycosis. So they are predominantly involving in the area which is along the airways. So we don't know whether oxygen, the tubings have some role into this. And the other risk factors like environmental risk factor, whether the mucor is acquired through the healthcare system, whether there is an issue with the host immunity, or whether the virus itself has triggered a change in the fungus and that has caused this, we don't know. So it is this four-pronged attack that probably is the cause of this unique disease which has suddenly jumped in entry of India. Next slide. So these were our collaborators with whom we did this study in Maharashtra. Next. Now talking about challenges, I think we'll skip this. Next slide. So there are many unanswered questions about this and what are the ways forward? What are the risk factors? Whether the dose of steroid matter, whether any steroid is worse than the other steroid, whether remdesivir is a risk factor, we don't know. Whether the severity of COVID or hospital stay, duration of hospital stay are the risk factors, suggesting that mucor could have been acquired in hospital. Oxygen, tubings, ventilation, whether they are risk factor, whether this mucor is different from the routine mucor, whether the treatment is similar or different, because we know that many of the doctors are using only non-amphotericin drug and patients are getting better. What are the poor prognostic indicator? Of course, whether we can prevent it. These are the questions which need to be answered. Next. And I am happy that the Ophthalmology Society has come up with a really large and good paper, and it would have answered some of these questions. But we need more studies. Of course, we need to improve the awareness about the disease. We need more data and registries. We need case control studies, and we are indeed doing one of these kind of study. We need some basic science research. More experts are needed for this disease. Next slide. So if you look at the fungi, the smallest fungi would produce more diffuse disorders like meningoencephalitis. Little larger fungi like Candida would produce granulomas or microabscesses, which are little localized kind of disorders. Next, if you have very large fungi like Aspergillus and they would really produce strokes or this rhino-orbital syndrome. Just one slide next. And the intracranial complication of this disease is because of contagious spread. It can lead to cavernous sinus thrombosis. It can produce abscesses. It can produce meningitis, and it can also produce cerebrovascular disorders because of involvement of the vessels, including strokes and aneurysms. Next. So these were two of our patients. One had stroke, one has interstitial hemorrhage. Next. The next one has involvement of the cavernous sinus with a small infarct. The second patient, of course, has orbit, and it is going in the intracranial cavity. Next. So to conclude, fungal infections become common in post-COVID scenario. Everyone must know, not just ENT, ophthalmologists and neurologists, but also physicians and all other surgeons also. Early diagnosis, early surgery, early treatment is important. It is just a teamwork for everyone. One should not neglect these symptoms with which patients are many times sent home by GPs. Headache, facial pain, numbness, diminished vision. One must look at these patients. We need more studies, of course, to answer some of these questions. And neurologists are integral part and many times captain of management of the disease, especially if there is intracranial involvement. Next, it is a disease which has started in India, unique disease in India. It's a new epidemic, and the answers must come from India. We all must work together to find out answer for this question.